Hey, have you heard of this game, Mortal Kombat?
What is Mortal Kombat?
It's like Street Fighter, but you could fucking kill people.
Whoa!
The first game truly was like an expression of who we were at the time, the stuff that we consumed growing up as kids, and we just threw it all into the game.
You know, there was no template to how to make the games. There was no instructions, just winging it.
And I'd never done this before. I didn't know how to do it. We were just kind of making it up as we went along.
We were just a bunch of knuckleheads doing whatever we wanted, and we were happy.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat!
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat! It is simultaneously exactly like and nothing like Street Fighter.
Kano.
Liu Kang.
Raiden. Johnny Cage.
Scorpion.
Sub-Zero.
Sonya.
Round one. Fight!
You had to guess like the moves and how to figure out the codes.
Remember having a cheat sheet.
Hit block and mash the buttons, I don't know.
Block, 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 high kick.
Fatality. Kano ripped out a heart, held it up, blood dripping from it.
It's the first time I've seen blood in a video game.
Blood flying out of these people's heads.
My parents were very worried about the violence.
I don't want you guys playing this. It sounds bad. Finish him!
The game narrator instructs the player to finish his opponent.
Oh my God, I didn't know that you could do that.
It was a mega hit. Game after game after game.
It's amazing. I could have never imagined how big it has all become.
It was, is, and always will be a fighting game for everyone.
It's funny to think that it all started from like 4 guys in Chicago that just wanted to make a cool martial arts game.
And those people.
The team on Mortal Kombat 1 was 4 of us.
My name is Ed Boone. I'm co-designer and programmer.
My name's Dan Forden, and I do sound and music.
John Vogel, background special effects.
John Tobias, and co-designer and lead artist.
There was other sort of support staff, but that had to do more with like the cabinet and the wiring.
A team being composed of, I think, 4, 5, 6 people was not uncommon.
You were in one of 2 categories, programmer or artist, and that was basically it. Everything felt like, being in a rock band or something, just a very few number of guys. He's guitar, he's drum, he's, we all had our own jobs to do, and we'd fight with each other, and we'd hang out with each other and go see movies with each other and stuff. And
certainly when I started working on Smash TV, it was myself, Mark Turmel, and I think there was maybe one other programmer at the time, and then Eugene Jarvis eventually came on.
Partly it was just the simplicity of the games of that era. 8-bit, pixel art, that a lot of the animation was just done with graph paper. Say Defender, all the animations of that game could be done in a week.
A lot of people think that, somebody up high says you're going to make a fighting game and you're going to call it Mortal Kombat and it's going to look like this, and then we go, okay, and do it. That's not how it worked at all.
It's a bit of the Wild West. There wasn't rules. There wasn't any, well, this is how you make a video game. Everybody made it differently. And as long as cool new stuff was showing up on your screen every once in a while, management would, peek their head in. Oh, you got fatalities going. Good job. And then they'd leave and you just continue with it.
Win. It was so pure, you didn't have to, have a committee meeting every time you wanted to add a feature. And
things were so loose back then, there wasn't really a workflow. It was like, hey, we need to get something done. Just do it.
It was just like, yeah, let's try this out, and see if it works.
And I think maybe a part of it was also that I wasn't conscious of might have been to keep costs down. I know what my salary was at the time. I don't know what Ed's salary was, but I have to believe that the development of MK in terms of the cost of us had to have been, I don't know, not much. And I remember at the end of my first year working at Midway, I was doing my taxes. My dad was helping me do my taxes. When I started at Williams, I was making $19,000 a year. He knew the hours I was putting in, and we did the math, and I was making probably $2 an hour is what I was making working at Williams, and I didn't care. I loved the work so much.
I know it's not a popular topic, but like, the overnighters and the, going out for breakfast, nobody told us to do that. Nobody said, stay till midnight tonight. If anything, they were, you guys are burning yourselves out, and you gotta take it easy or something. So
because of the schedules and because of how few people there were, and we were all playing multiple roles, wore multiple hats, that there was just too much work. And it wasn't like we were being made to do this. It was an art, it was a craft, and it was a labor of love. So we were so passionate that we spent, all of our waking hours and our sleeping hours in the studio.
Some people look back and they go, oh, that was abuse or something like that. It's like, no, we were guys in our 20s who were motivated to do something cool. You were working on Liu Kang's, flying kick, and it was feeling good, and you wanted to keep perfecting it. And it was my obsession. It was like being paid to do a hobby. If a band is up all night learning a song, they want to nail it. And it's the exact same thing. It's completely self-motivated.
Back then, it was nothing but fun. It was just, working there was just hilarious. The secret sauce was basically we were just a bunch of knuckleheads doing whatever we wanted, and we were happy. My job on MK1 was basically to do backgrounds. Like John would do characters and I would do the backgrounds. Things were very simple back then, like.
One more time.
He would choose which frames he wanted to use and then cut the background away from the characters, and that was his job,
Literally after we shot the footage, I think maybe that night or the next day, I started stripping frames right away. We did a lot of playing around with lighting. We were just sort of discovering. I think we probably taped more than we needed just to make sure that we got enough coverage.
I remember after the Sonya's leg grab, having to say something along the lines of, trust us, it's going to be really cool. The image was clear in my head. Sometimes we forget that it's not inside everybody's head.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, now once from the middle, all you have to do is just land right there.
Can you do that, or is that
The beginning part.
She should do it from the stance.
Right.
We were trying to get a film-like quality, but we wanted to just amp it up a little bit. And once we realized that pumping up colors really attracted people to our games, that was also our trademark.
A lot of the character design that I did for Mortal Kombat was based on the limitations of the hardware. So I knew that we had a limited color palette that we could work with. I knew that the pixel resolution kind of restricted what we were capable of doing. So bold colors, simple shapes would distinguish one character from another would be important. And I knew that a color palette that would distinguish one character from another was also important. And I was careful not to repeat those things.
The thing about the ninjas was, the nature of them. As you know, there were palette swaps of each other. It was all to save memory. It was a very precious thing in our arcade games. And so Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they were the same character with different colors. John wrote this amazing backstory behind them, making them enemies, and that added to the mystique of the characters.
One of the pages of my notebook I had scribbled, okay, here are the characters and here are their archetypes. I knew that, well, we need a hero, we need a villain, we need a sidekick, we need all these things. I was a big Joseph Campbell fan. I had read his books and I was aware of the hero's journey and the character archetypes that he had sort of outlined. I thought, okay, well, if we could tell implicit story through character archetypes, the players might sort of almost subconsciously relate to the characters in a particular way. So that played a part in sort of the character choices we made. I don't recall exactly why we did some characters and not others. I know that we were limited with the number of characters we could do. A few of them I remember not using. One of them was a character called Minamoto Yoshitsune. It was based on a Japanese mythological character. And another one was called Rakuro, who was based on, I think, a Japanese mythological beasts. Those two characters didn't make it in. I think part of it was because the names became a big deal for us. It's like, how does this name roll off the tongue? If a name was too long, we knew it was going to be difficult to display on the health meters. It was usually silly things like that would play a part in some of the choices we made.
Most of the characters' names came from John Tobias. A couple of the characters, he didn't have a name written down for them. He had Ninja 1 and Ninja 2. I was a little bit more of like a simple superhero mindset, so I started calling them Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Those simple names were kind of like my influence, but the authentic, cool names, Goro, Shang Tsung, Kano, Raiden, that was John's deal.
For Mortal Kombat 1, there wasn't a lot in the way of concept art that we did. Conceptualization was just limited to just scribblings in a notepad.
I don't remember many, if any, drawings of backgrounds, but there may have been some. I just remember kind of like I said, just winging it and doing whatever. Like John would say, I'd like a dungeon or something, and that became Goro's lair, I had already learned how to do the parallax scrolling stuff from Terminator 2, so that worked out well with doing parallax stuff for Mortal Kombat as well. I know there was one specific background that he wanted, and that was with statues, the statue background. Just make something look cool. That was basically the rule. I went to Chinatown, and just to get references and stuff, there would be, an interesting vase, and I would video that vase, and then I use that, and that's Shang Tsung's, one of Shang Tsung's thrones is like the vase, There's the dragon that was sitting on Ken Fedesna's desk. I just said, hey, can I video that? And he's like, cool. So I grabbed it off his desk, took it to my office and grabbed it. That's like in one of the backgrounds, and there's two of them. And then there's the pagoda in Chinatown that I videoed that and used that as, the courtyard, I guess we call it, I think. Shang Tsung is also in on a chair, and it's that big roof thing. That's from Chicago. That's from Chinatown. So sometimes it meant opening a book and going, oh, that's a cool Chinese thing. Get the camera, take video of it, and use that. There are things from books in Mortal Kombat 1. I just went out and grabbed stuff. What looks cool? Kind of a guerrilla artsy sort of way. It wasn't really planned all that much back then.